Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening and the great indoors. Today's video is sponsored by our Amazon affiliate link below and also by our Renee's Garden Seeds affiliate as well. And that link is below. Okay, so these are some of the plants that I did a video on a couple weeks ago, and these are moonflowers, which I've been growing indoors under artificial lighting. And I have had some questions too, not only about the moonflowers, but also about staking plants. And there was one viewer who was very concerned about roots and staking plants, and I thought this is a great opportunity with these moonflowers, because they definitely need to be staked, as you can see, to talk about staking. So staking is important a lot of the time. So these moonflowers need to be staked. They grow on something, and so all over the place on the ground is okay if you were going to do maybe from a hanging basket, but generally speaking, these are better off growing upwards where you can see the flowers too, because the flowers growing anyway upside down doesn't work as well. Okay, so, and these are a good example. So you can see with this one here that this is a wooden skewer, and this stake has long past been of use here. It's way too short. So I'm going to take that out. What I am going to do is put another wooden skewer in, and it's a really long one. Now I am knowing that this plant is going to get a lot taller. So you can see the stake is pretty long. It's going to be longer than this plant, which is a good thing. So anytime you have something that's fast growing like this, you would want to put a stake in that would be taller in the end. Oh, and meant to mention, okay, so when you stick in stakes in the soil of a plant, you do want to be careful. So you're not going to go ramming here, ramming here, ramming here, ramming here, ramming all over the place. It's kind of like with a wall where you're making holes to hang for nails to put up pictures. You don't want to be putting it all over the place. Plus, you could be harming the roots. Now, the roots can take some of this. So when you do stake, you do want to find the best possible place first, and then go ahead and insert the stake. Don't be trying everywhere, like I mentioned. So what I did when I did this, because I'm used to it, is I found a spot right next to the plant. And that's another thing. You want to get right up next to the plant, because otherwise, if you have it way over here, you're going to have the plant leaning over. And this is especially a problem if you're staking something you want to keep upright, right? So you don't want it leaning. So I have it nice and close. It's also good to have it nice and close when you have something that's vining like this. So I put it in gently, nice and close, and stuck it in as gently as possible. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to use some force to get it into the soil. And then you would wind the plant gently around the stake that you've got here. I'll show you the top in a minute. And this will eventually also wind itself, but just to make sure plants are going to stay, I like to use green garden tie tape. It stretches, so it's not going to girdle the plant, which would mean it suffocates the plant, the stem. And tie it in a few strategic locations so that it stays on the stake. And you can tie it in a bow, or you can just tie it like that. If it's more of a permanent plant, permanent thing going on, this is an annual, so in a few weeks it'll be done. But if it's more of a permanent thing, I would make a more permanent tie to it, but since this is less permanent, I'm just going to tie it just once. Okay, so you can see that's holding it, and if you see you can see up here, right here, it's already got some curvature in it, so it will start doing its own winding up there. It will eventually go back down. You can but it'll probably flower before it does that. It's going to flower along the stem here. So that shows you a little bit on staking. Different kinds of stakes. You can get bamboo stakes. They make them there in green. It's been a little worn out, but you get the idea. So There's different lengths. So we talked about the length. The length obviously has to be a little bit taller than the plant, but you wouldn't want it a lot taller. Shorter is not going to work, as I mentioned. Also, the diameter of the stake. You don't need a really big stake unless it's a big plant. If it's a big plant, you're going to need a bigger stake in order to hold that plant upright. But for something as lightweight as this, a very thin stake works. So that is about it on staking. Please leave comments on any other indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.